They're traditional strongholds for the ANC, but as more election results come in, is the political landscape changing in Limpopo and in Mpumalanga? Right now, the ANC enjoys the majority of votes in both regions, while the EFF and DA wrestle to secure second place. Our reporter Heidi Giokos is in Polokwane and Lindokuhle Xulu, stands by in Mbombela. Let's start off with Heidi. Heidi, I think for a lot of the opposition parties in those provinces, the aim was just to erode the ANC's support. Have any of them managed to make a dent?
I think in terms of making a huge and a significant dent for other political parties, not much of that has been done. We do know that Limpopo is a stronghold for the African National Congress, and we are seeing that with the results nationally, or provincially rather. It's at 66.78%. It's also important to note that counting is basically done in the province. It's all about capturing, verifying and auditing the results, which is now at over 56%. But what's interesting here, Taps, is the fact that the economic freedom fighters have managed to take wards away from the African National Congress in Polokwane, and they have been able to retain wards in Shishego, which we do know is where the leader of the EFF actually comes from. So they've managed to make inroads in Polokwane. But what's interesting here, I'm just going to try and see if I can show you on my cell phone. Papalaborwa is an area that seems to have no counts coming in, and nothing has been verified as yet. We do know yesterday that the IEC did in fact mention the fact that counting has not happened there due to connectivity issues. Load shedding is currently happening, and these areas aren't necessarily jacked up with generators. I'm going to go back and just quickly show you there's a specific area, Modimole, which is possibly going to be a hung municipality. I don't think we have seen such a colourful area in terms of political parties gaining ground there. You can see it's the ANC, the EFF, the Freedom Front Plus and the DA. So we do know in Modimole the Freedom Front Plus has actually taken parts away from the DA, but we do know that the ANC currently has 49%, the DA 23% and the EFF 14%. So we do know that is most likely going to be a hung municipality. But of course these results are still trickling in. Very slow, I must say, Taps, but we are monitoring that results board very closely.
Thank you, Heidi. It'd be interesting to find out why the IEC hasn't started counting in the area you mentioned. And they said they did have contingency plans, but it seems like those contingency plans weren't in place for that area in particular. Let's go to Lindokuhle, who's in Mpumalanga. Lindo, I understand the counting is hovering close to 70% right now, right? Has the landscape changed at all in Mpumalanga?
Well, you are right. We are around 75%. In fact, 76 now, as I'm signaled by one of the staff members here on the computers. But certainly, there is a political landscape that has changed. You'd remember that the ANC in 2016 local government elections, they had enjoyed a 70-plus support in terms of the votes as well as the wards that they got. But I can tell you that it's quite different now, quite different from what the president of the country, as well as the ANC, President Cyril Ramaphosa, said, to say that in Mpumalanga he wants 80%. Unfortunately, at the moment that is not happening. I will repeat that we are on 75-76%, but it is only just nearing 60% for the ANC. They are on 59%, but those countings are still happening. The opposition parties are still optimistic, and one of the things they said, if I can quote them directly, is that we want to eat away the elephant in Mpumalanga. They're speaking, of course, and making reference to the ANC. The DA, when we spoke to them, said if they achieve a decline of 50%, around 50 to 59% for the ANC, then they would have done a great job. That's some of the things that we've been getting. But of course, from the ANC's perspective, they remain optimistic. They spoke to us yesterday when we were at around 50%, but essentially telling us that it's still early. They are hoping that they'll be gaining more and more wards as the counting and tallying continues. But I can tell you that there are some things that they've accredited. Some of the declines we are seeing seeing, to one of them being the issue of the fact that voters did not turn out as much as they want. In the province, just not counting the special voters, the turnout of voters on Monday, it was around 39%. So they're saying that some people are disgruntled with the ANC, but at the end of the day, they believe that some of those people who did not show up to the polls are essentially people who are disgruntled with the ANC, but do not have an alternative when it comes to oppositions that they can trust. But I can tell you that contrary to that, opposition parties will tell you that there are some pickings from the ruling party in terms of voters, because they are seeing growth. In fact, DA was speaking to us about winning a ward in Doornkop in Middelburg, saying that this is essentially what it is. This is a place where John Steenhuisen was there to say that people must trust him, and they've given them that word. So opposition parties are optimistic to say that if at least they can bring the ANC down to 50%, then they would have done their job. But for now, the tallying continues. 76% is where we are at the moment, and ANC continues to lead, but not necessarily as they would want, because it is 59% at the moment.